Hello, hello. How are you today? I am so excited to have a guest in the studio today. She is one of my great friends and somebody that I've gotten an opportunity to get to know really, really well the last couple of years. And so I want to introduce myself and introduce her today. And I'm just going to have her share some secrets of her success. So my name is Jill Matthews, and I'm a national director with Mary Kay. And oh my goodness, I do a lot of leadership development. I've had the privilege and the honor of helping Michelle with some of her advancements in her career. And so it's been such a pleasure to get to work with her. And so I wanted you to get to know her a little bit. So you may be receiving this video because somebody thought that you might enjoy hearing from her, or maybe they thought your stories might match, or something that she said was interesting that might intrigue you about our Mary Kay business opportunity. But if you're a beauty consultant watching it, we hope you're blessed. If you're somebody that's from the outside that's looking at our business opportunity, we hope you're doubly blessed. And so sit back and relax. We're just going to get to know each other a little bit. So I'm going to introduce you to my good friend. This is Michelle Clough, and she lives right here in Lewisville, Texas. And so, Michelle, I'm so glad you're with us today. So talk to me for just a minute. I would love for the whole free world to get to know you like I know you. So tell me, what about this Mary Kay world drew you in and you said, yes, I want to open my business with Mary Kay? What was it?
That's a great question. At that season in my life, I really was introduced to Mary Kay, and there were several things that I was interested in knowing more about. But there were some things that I thought, wow, I really need that in my life. And so one of them was equal opportunity. And that may be like, well, what does that mean? But I know that there are ladies that they work, and they don't feel like things are very equal. The playing field is not equal. And so I was experiencing that in pay raise and all kinds of different things. And I just was kind of like, I need something different. I don't want to do that anymore. And so I love the equal opportunity in Mary Kay, meaning that we make the same discount on our profits, and we make the same amount of discount on our product, but also the equal opportunity and advancement. And right. So whatever you want to do, it's up to you. And you didn't have somebody telling you can't do this, you can't do that. I also really loved the idea of flexibility. At that time, I was a college student. And so I was working full time, I was working part time, and I was going to school. And I just was not getting anywhere. And I remember thinking maybe Mary Kay would be an opportunity for me to let that part-time job at the mall go. And even my mom said that to me. She said, I think we should talk to your dad about this Mary Kay thing, because maybe you could let that job at the mall go and you could focus more on school. And so I thought, okay, let's think about that. And so we did. We talked about that. My dad and mom and I, we talked about that idea. And I needed a change in my life. I desperately felt like that hamster that was in the wheel, when you're just going around and around and around and around. And I even remember a girlfriend saying to me, Michelle, you cannot have a full-time job, a part-time job, and go to school and try this Mary Kay thing. And I said, well, something has to change. Something has to change. And so I remember a time in my life where the word change really scared me. It was a fearful word. But Mary Kay really was the beginning of change, meant a new growth experience. And it was an exciting season, an exciting time to think about new opportunities and being more in control. Remember that equal opportunity, being more in control. And then I just want to share this last little one, because this is just a fun little heart secret. But at that time, I knew in my heart that I wanted to be a work from home mom. I knew that. And but God had placed that in my heart too. And of course, I became a mom. Gosh, it was 4 or 5 years after I was a consultant. And I needed to be that work from home mom, because my son, he had a lot of learning disabilities. And so we did a lot of homeschooling, right. And we did a lot of work at home. And he had a bone growth disorder. And so we spent a lot of time at Scottish Rite Hospital. And so I needed that flexibility big time. But at that time, as a college student, I didn't know how it was going to affect my life. So those were really the three big ones.
Well, sometimes we don't know what we don't know.
That's right.
And, I believe strongly that God is orchestrating everything together for good for those that love him. And so many times we say yes to something and we don't know how God's going to use it to bless us someday. And so,
Right.
oh my gosh, I just love hearing your story. You've got such a precious heart and such a passion for that work from home mom. You know what if, I always play the what if game. Like, what if we didn't have this? I mean, can you imagine having to make those decisions with Grant over a job that tells you that you can't have any more sick leave, you can't have any more time off, you can't have, you can't make those decisions as a mom. And so many moms don't feel like they have other options. And you just shared with us right now that there are options. We do have choices. Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, let's talk. So you were in college, so you were a young chick. And I think that's so interesting as we sit here as maybe more mature women that we kind of forget that we were young and didn't know come here from Sikkim. Sometimes we were very young and yet we said yes. So talk to me about anything back then in your thought process that would have maybe held you back from saying yes to an opportunity like Mary Kay.
Oh, well, I can tell you, I remember that conversation with my mom and dad. I obviously was living at home. I was living at home going through college. So I just had a bedroom. And so it wasn't like I had a house or a table or anything. So, it was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to run a business? Like, I just have a bedroom. And, you can work through that. And we didn't have all this virtual stuff right now. And so it's amazing how women can connect over a cup of coffee, over the kitchen table. It doesn't have to be as professional as you're thinking. And I didn't know that at the time. So even fast forward a year later, I did meet that first Mary Kay goal of going to school full time. And then just having Mary Kay as a part-time income and having working at the school just part-time. And so I held Mary Kay appointments even in my dorm room. And I kept a card table underneath my bed in my dorm room. And I would hold Mary Kay appointments in my dorm room. And it was tiny. It was my bed and my roommate's bed. And so, that was something that I remember thinking, how in the world will I do this? And then I guess the other thing that was a big thing that I talked to my mom and dad about was I didn't know anything about skincare. I didn't know anything about makeup. I was not that kind of girl. I was just
Me neither. I know.
Yeah, just a simple kind of girl. We did a mascara at Easter and we did a mascara at Christmas. So we did a mascara 2 times a year. And we did an eyeliner, the 99-cent eyeliner. And I was just a soap and water kind of girl. I had always had problem skin. So really didn't know a lot about all of that. And so I remember having that conversation with my dad. And I was like, but, and my dad just looked at me and he goes, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you're kind of smart, right? And I go, yeah, I'm smart. And he goes, I'm pretty sure you can teach somebody how to wash their face. And, he really just took all of that.
Thanks, Dad.
I mean, it just went zip. I mean, it was just like that. It settled my soul. And so I had way too much emotion in it. And my dad was really able to just say, you know what, you're a smart chick, and I'm sure you'll figure this out. And it really was with my mom and dad, their coaching of like, I really think you should try this. Like, let's just try it kind of thing. And I loved it because I've always loved makeup and I've always wanted to have better skin. But I just didn't know what to do. I just didn't know what to do. And so I love the teaching approach in Mary Kay. That's probably my favorite, is to be able to sit with someone and teach them about their skin and say, let's try this and let's try that, because I know how that feels. Yeah.
Aren't daddies just wonderful about breaking it down to the most basic thing? I think you can teach somebody how to wash their face. I think we do as women kind of make things bigger and harder and more complicated. And of course, the more time we think about it, it grows and grows and grows. And then we're like, oh my gosh. And really, can you teach somebody to wash their face? That really is as simple as it gets. And so thank goodness that you listened to him, because you are a smart chick and you learned a few things about washing faces. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm teachable and coachable. Let's just say that. I learned how to wear eyeliner and all kinds of stuff.
And not the 99-cent one anymore. This one actually goes on smooth and looks great, right?
That's right.
Oh, well, one thing that I love about Michelle, and I just want to affirm her just a moment, is she's such a great teacher. So she mentioned that just a little bit, but there's people that just have a natural ability to facilitate information and to make you draw you in and make you want to learn more. And those are the brilliant people in our world that are teachers. And so one thing that I really appreciate and love about you, Michelle, is that you have such a great way to draw people in and to make them want to learn more about skincare, to make them want to learn more about our opportunity, because you've got that teacher's heart. And obviously, I think that's how God hardwired you. But you've also just got that servant spirit. And I think so many times people have a stereotypical idea of what a Mary Kay person should be. And I just love that you kind of blow the lid off of that and you're like, nope, I am who I am. And we can all be successful in our own right with our own mode of operation, so to speak. And so you're facilitating people to learn. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I love that about you. I love that about you. So let me ask you another question. So okay. Mary Kay has been fun for you, but it's also been a career for you. So it was more than just getting rid of some part-time jobs and paying for school and things like that. It's really become a career with free cars and diamond rings and wonderful trips and benefits to your kids. And so talk to me about, anything in your Mary Kay business that you've said, gosh, if I didn't have Mary Kay, I wouldn't have that. Maybe a prize or a trip or a reward or something that has really been meaningful for you.
Oh my goodness. I think the extra money has always been meaningful to me. Because for me, it's always, I love the diamonds. I love the cars. I love all those things. I don't want to give any of them back. And let me tell you, to go and pick up a car with your family is amazing, amazing. But definitely I would say, having the opportunity again, to just be in control of that extra income. And so it really is like, okay, as a family, what do we want to do? And we always love to travel. We always love to have a trip. And so I remember, this was early on in our son Grant, he was little, and Pat had a trip coming up for work in California. And so we just, at a whim, we were like, well, let's go with you. And so we were going to go do the Disney and Lego thing and all that stuff, right? And so I remember thinking, I'm going to make some extra cash and I'm just going to surprise Pat on the plane ride. I'm just going to surprise him. And so that is one of the things that I have to finish telling you a story because it was so fun. So we get on the plane and then we sit down, you buckle in and you get your gum out and you put your gum in your mouth and, you're sitting there. And so I'm getting in my purse and I had orchestrated all this. And so I reached in and I pulled out and I had $500 extra $100 bills. And so I just kind of like laid them out on the table, the table that you sit down.
You have his complete attention at this point.
Yeah. I just kind of laid out those $100 bills on the tray and he looked at me and I was like, I just thought maybe we'd need a little bit of extra cash this week. And so I had a really great week. And so I just wanted you to hang on to this and keep it in your billfold for us. And so, I love surprising our family with little things like that. Right now, my daughter is helping me in my office and she has a timesheet. She's like, I worked from here to here, Mom, and here to here. And my son's already done that before as well. And just being able to pay them, in special things, but also that good old green cash and just say, thank you for supporting Mama. And for being part of this business,
family business
opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Really a family business for us.
It is. And, I think what a life lesson. I mean, who cares about the 20 or 30 bucks that you're spending, paying Sarah to do those things, but literally what life lessons, because you're teaching her, to keep up with her. I mean, there's so many life lessons there. And that when you help the family business, you help go on those trips and you help have those extra things and you help to get to go, get your nails done and all those fun things that we want to do as girls. And so, there's so many women that need opportunities to enrich their kids' lives through what they do. And they don't get to take them to work. When you're a working from home mom, you have the opportunity for your kids to see you. And I've always said that my kids learned more from me missing a goal than they ever did from me making a goal. Oh, yeah. Because they saw disappointment. They saw how I'd worked hard for something and I missed it. And it taught them that not everything's going to go great. Not everything's going to just fall into place, that there's going to be things that are disappointing, and they got to see me handle that. And I think I handled it better because I knew they were watching. So that's
Oh,
really, really, yeah, that's really, really good.
For sure.
Oh my goodness. Well, the trips, one of the things that I think as I talk to women all the time, and you mentioned travel, that I think if you were to take every woman and you say, if I were to give you $1,000 extra, what would you do with it? I think 99.999% of them would say travel, because it creates experiences and memories. And I think as moms, we want to expose our kids to other places and things like that, but also to create those memories and those bonding opportunities. And travel is just, it's really, I really believe that's where your family gets glued together for sure. Because day to day kind of is sometimes hard and mundane, but when you get to travel together, that's really beautiful. I love those stories. I love those stories. So tell me a time, Michelle, when you were working your business, and as a leader, we have the opportunity to not only impact customers to try our product and to be serviced properly, and to really enjoy, gold service, which is what we call the gold standard service in Mary Kay. But there's also times for us to influence our team members. And so to be a leader for them and to really impact not just their journey in Mary Kay, but sometimes their heart. So was there a specific time, any time in your career that you go, that sticks in my brain as a time that I really made a difference in somebody's life?
Wow, that's a great question. There's definitely a time that I would love to share, and it's a precious time, and it's a great story. It's a sad story, but it's a great story, and it's about Miss Linda. And I had the privilege of working with her, and she joined our team, and she wanted to just make some extra money. She loved the product. She wanted to make some extra money and get that 50% discount, right? But also she was in her mid 50s, and she just really wanted to have that next season of life. She knew she was going to be retiring soon, and she wanted to have some girlfriends. She already had great girlfriends, but you can never have too many great sets of girlfriends, so true, right? And so she knew that the Mary Kay culture was different, a good different, right? And so she had already been to several of our different parties and events and things like that. And so she really loved the Mary Kay group of women. And so she became a consultant. And I remember her telling me, we were sitting and we were having coffee, and I said, what do you really want out of this business? And she said, I don't want to be alone. And I said, you have a ton of friends. And she said, I do, but I don't ever want to be alone. You can never have too many girlfriends, right? And very wise words of wisdom. And so we had a blast having our Mary Kay business side by side. And she was sassy and classy and just super creative. And we were both teachers, so we connected on that teacher level. And then she did end up retiring a little early because she was having liver problems. And so, and it turned out that she needed a transplant. And so she did move up north to try and make that happen. And it did not happen. Not the way that she thought it was going to happen. But I remember her calling me on Christmas Eve, and this would have been, I believe, 2016, Christmas Eve. And she called me and she said, I'm not going to make it very many more days. And I just didn't know what to do. She wasn't here locally. I couldn't go see her, couldn't go hold her hand. I couldn't do anything. And I said, well, we're going to pray. We're going to pray, and we're going to ask God to just change that. And so, and I said, I'm here for you, and you're not alone, and we're going to pray through this. And she had family, she had everybody. But, again, back to what she said, you can never have too many. And so, we talked almost every day, and she did make it through Christmas, and she made it through New Year's Eve. And she was still working on those Mary Kay goals, and she was telling all the nurses about Mary Kay, and she was telling people about the opportunity. And in fact, one of our team members, Miss Laura, she is part of our Mega Mover group, and she was adamant that Miss Laura would sign up. She was like, you have to be a Mary Kay consultant because you need this in your life. And she was adamant about that. And here she is in the hospital. And so Laura pretty much gave her word that she would become a consultant in February 1, she would become a consultant. And so Miss Linda was so at peace about that decision. She just was she was she loved Mary Kay with her whole heart. She loved the opportunity, but she loved the culture. And so it was so fun to talk to her. And she'd say, I talked to this nurse, I talked to this nurse, and I have my Mary Kay order coming in. And do you think they'll bring it to the hospital? And, I want to make deliveries. And she was always on for the team goal that we had for the new year. She was like, okay, this is what I did today. And so it kept her mind busy, but she loved to be challenged, and she loved to be part of a team. I would say that she's definitely loved to be part of a team. And so her legacy carries on in Laura, because she did become a consultant February 1st, just as she promised her. And she's been a consultant since then.
Oh my gosh, it's just interesting how Mary Kay, our culture, and you mentioned culture. I can remember in the beginning of my Mary Kay career, I called Mary Kay a cult. It's not a good word to use, really, but I learned, because I think a lot of people from the outside, like, why are they so happy? Why do they like each other so much? And what's all that? We are kind of a different breed. And what I've learned is just what you said. It's a culture. Mm-hmm. And it is, even though we can have friends, this is such a safe place to learn and to grow and to be nurtured and to nurture. I believe God hardwired us as women to be nurturers. But sometimes the real world doesn't reward that. And in our business, it absolutely, doing the right thing and always giving to others really is rewarded in our business. And in fact, is one of our highest awards. And so what a beautiful, beautiful story. I just know that sometimes we are making an eternal difference in people's lives. Absolutely. And I believe you did for her as well. And I love that she fought till the very end with her Mary Kay goals. I love that.
You remember Mary Kay asked, she would say paychecks of the heart, paychecks of the heart. Mm-hmm. And I love our paychecks of the heart. They're priceless.
Yes, priceless. They are. Oh my gosh. Well, you've really went from, joining to get rid of some jobs to, leadership. So, I mean, there's a big gap there. Was there any time in there that you said, I don't know if I can, what would have held you back? What would have been something that you said, I don't know. I don't know if leadership's for me. I don't know if this Mary Kay thing's for me. I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's a great question too. And there was a season of that. There absolutely was. And I remember one of those times, a big one, was when I decided that I was going to take that leap into Mary Kay full time. And I was not, I wasn't pregnant at the time. I was married. But we knew, remember, I knew that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I knew that. And I wanted to be a work-from-home mom. I knew that I had to be challenged. I knew that I wanted to get up and be cute, but I also wanted to be the room mom and all those other things.
Yeah.
So there was that season when I decided that I was gonna work my business full time, and I was scared to death because I'd always wanted to be a teacher. And so I was going to school for speech pathology and deaf education. And I just was like, Lord, this is really different. I don't understand what's happening here. And so I remember telling Patrick, I said, the Lord's really pulling my heart a different direction. And he said to me, who am I the one to tell you no, if the Lord's pulling your heart that way?
Yeah.
And so I just had to work my business differently. And I had to grow my confidence level. I spent a lot more time in prayer, but you know what? It was part of God's plan.
Absolutely.
It was part of God's plan. Mm-hmm. And so it's not really about who we are or what we've got, what our package is. It's really about obedience. And I just felt like I was being obedient to the Lord, and I needed to step up and walk in the path that he had called me to do. And so I'm still teaching. And I never
Absolutely, you are.
God was going to have me teaching. I always thought I was going to be teaching little kids because I love early childhood. And I still got to do all that because I had 2 kids. So I got to do lots of teaching, and, especially with our oldest. So, but I get to teach women. And I always feel that when I sit down and I'm doing a skincare appointment or a color appointment, it fills my cup. It fills my cup. And I know that when they're sitting with me, they've given me, 30 minutes to an hour of their time. And I know that that's precious time. And so I want it to be a time that they've learned something. That's where my teacher stuff comes in. I'm like, okay, what do you want to learn today? And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is pampering time. Pampering for sure. But I'm like, what do you want to learn? And so I'm just grateful that God still lets me use my teaching, but I had no idea that it would be in this platform, that's for sure. But I'm extremely grateful.
That's awesome. I think so many people, when they're watching videos like what we're doing, Michelle, they may say, "Oh, I can never see myself doing Mary Kay full time. If this is what it's about, I'm not interested." And I think, isn't it interesting how we all start, as and Mary Kay uses the analogy a lot, as a little tight rosebud. Like, we don't know what we don't know yet. We don't know. We can easily look at leaders and say, "I could never be like her." Well, not today, but through life's lessons, and through the culture, and through the challenges, and through the training, and through the different things that you're going to experience, you can grow to that. And so you said that so beautifully, that you grew into that position of leadership. It wasn't necessarily just like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. It was something that you had to grow. And aren't you glad you grew your confidence? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I hear so many women say, oh, I'm just not, I can never do that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think I've ever heard anybody brag about being insecure, or brag about being shy, or brag about not being able to complete things. We want that, but we don't maybe necessarily know how to go about it. And so Mary Kay gives us some of those skills, those life skills that we talked about.
And you said that about being shy. And I remember sharing that with Deborah. I remember saying, but I'm shy. And I remember her saying to me, do you always want to be that way?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I really don't.
And not really.
Who wants to stay shy? But what I've really learned is that I'm not necessarily shy. I'm just quiet. And I'm a quiet leader. And that's okay, because that's who God's called me to be. And so, and my beautiful daughter, she's a quiet leader too. But if you tell her, if you just say, here's what to do, she's going to do it. She's going to do it absolutely perfect. But don't think that she's shy, and don't think that I'm shy and like reserved. I'm just quiet. I'm just watching and observing. So I had to learn that. That was a season in my Mary Kay career that I was like, I just need to be me. And this is who God created me to be. I can still be a leader, but I can be a quiet leader.
Yeah. I love that we have every flavor. Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors. Well, we have about 3 million. 3 million flavors of Mary Kay. There is no cookie cutter for us. So let me just ask you one last question, then we'll kind of wrap up. What advice would you give someone that is looking at this business opportunity, watching this video, saying, I don't know if I could do something like this. I don't know if this is even a good fit for me. What advice would you give somebody that's just observing and watching this video?
I'm going to take you back to my daddy's advice. And I remember what he very specifically said to me. If you're working a full-time job and a part-time job and going to school, you don't really have an extra $100, right? And so he had asked me, he said, well, how much does this thing cost? And I said, it's $100. And he goes, okay. And he goes, well, what's your concern? And I said, Daddy, I don't have $100. And, I'm like, duh. And I would, Mom and Daddy, I would not want them to pay for that. They helped me many, many ways. And so I remember him saying to me, it chokes me up. I remember him saying to me, Shell, he used to call me Shell. He said, Shell, that $100, you could spend it here, 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 and here, and you would make nothing. And he said, if you spend $100 on this starter kit, you're going to make your money back, and you have the opportunity to make money. And again, it took the emotion out of it. And I said, okay. And so I figured out a way to come up with that $100. And my mom and dad, were my cheerleaders all the way. And those beginning years, still to this day, but definitely in the beginning years, because I wasn't married or anything. And it was a very difficult season in my life at that time. I didn't have a lot of confidence, but they said, you have nothing to lose. Let's just try it. Let's see. And so don't let confidence, don't let the $100, don't let you're not in the perfect season of your life. Don't let those things hold you back, because there's never a perfect time. There's never a perfect time. We talk about how when you leave the house, if you waited for all the lights to be green when you left the house, you never leave. Right. So there's green lights, there's red lights, and you just keep going. And so I just remember him very vividly saying that, Shell, you take that $100 and you spend it here, and you spend it here, and you spend it here, and you wouldn't make any money. He said this $100 that you would get for purchasing the starter kit would be a way for you to make your money back. And so I went for it. I just went for it. And I remember when we earned our very first car, and Deborah said to my daddy, she said, Will, did you ever think that she would win a car? And I can't tell you what he said, but but he said no. He said no. But he added a few little words in there. And I said, you never told me that. You never said that. And he said, I never would have told you that. He said, I knew you were capable of it, but I didn't know if you would go for it. And so they've been major supporters for me, especially in the beginning years. So I'm very blessed.
Wow. So your advice is just to go for it. You're not going to have it all figured out, but you never know unless you try. Never know.
Never going to know unless you try. And you know what? Can I say one more thing about that? I didn't know a ton of people either, and especially when I moved down to Denton to go to school, I didn't know a soul, zero, nobody. And so if you're like, I don't know very many people, I remember writing down that I knew 8 people. Well, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have all those things. Literally, I probably knew 8 people. Remember, I was quiet. I'm still quiet. So I had like 8 people. And so the Mary Kay training was amazing. You just really have to be teachable and coachable. And even moving down here to go to college and not knowing anybody, I was able to start a great business, moving 2 more times and continuing my business. So don't let not washing to know how to wash your face or wear an eyeliner or all those things. Just think about, are you teachable and coachable? And do you want to change? Are you tired of being that hamster in the wheel? And I needed change. And change really does mean come have a new growth experience. And Mary Kay was a new growth experience for me, financially, mentally, spiritually. And so be open to change. Change can be an exciting time.
Oh, Michelle, what a treasure you are. Thank you so much for sharing your day with us. And I know for a fact somebody's going to be blessed by just watching your story. They're going to be blessed knowing, obstacles or challenges or your characteristics or your heart or where you come from, your teacher. There's going to be something that resonates with everybody. And I just want to say thank you for sharing your day with us today and just being part of our little interview. And if you're watching this video, if somebody thought enough of you to send you this video, one of the things that I just want to say is it wasn't by mistake. And we don't believe in mistakes. We believe that everything happens together for good. And so if you're watching this, it's because somebody thinks something of you. They want you to be part of their Mary Kay world. And so we do hope that if you're a beauty consultant watching this, you're encouraged. If you're a guest watching this, that maybe this is the tipping point for you to say, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And if you if someone shared this video with you, it's because they would love to have you more involved in their life and in their Mary Kay business. So please consider just jumping in and taking charge. I want to say thank you to Michelle and thank you for watching. And the best is yet to come. So we can't wait to see you and have you join our Mary Kay world. Bye, everybody.
Bye.